this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, the day's support, resistance and pivot levels and the Fibonacci's. It is Friday the 19th of March. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar, it's a particularly bearish start to the day here. Going to need to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 58,279 to take a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 59,551. You need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break back through to 58,000 levels and through that pivot level. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 60,000 to cap any upside. Event of an extended rally could see Bitcoin test the second major resistance level at 61,463 and last week's new swing high 61,699. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 56,367 back into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of sub 55,000 levels. Second major support level at 55,095 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, it's a marked widening of the bearish histogram supporting this early morning pullback. On the EMAs, the 50 is also closing in on the 100 and the 200, a bearish indicator. So key through the early part of the day would be for Bitcoin to steer clear of the first major support level at 56,367 and move through the pivot at 58,279 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels will be in play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Ethereum move through the pivot at 1795 to take a run at the first major resistance level at 1832. We'll need support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 1800s. Barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 1850 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, Ethereum should test resistance at 1900 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1887. Failure to move through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 1740 back into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 1700. Second major support level at 1703 should limit the downside. On the MACDs, we got a widening of the bearish histogram this morning supporting this pullback. On the EMAs, the 50 has pulled back from the 100 after yesterday's failed bullish cross and narrowing in on the 200, which is also a bearish indicator. So failure to move through the pivot at 1795 would bring the first major support level at 1740 and sub 1720s into play. Moving to Litecoin against US dollar, also bearish. Going to need to see Litecoin move through the pivot at 202 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 206. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through to 200 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and Thursday's high at 28.23 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Litecoin test resistance at 215 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 212. Failure to move through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 196 and the 23.6% fib at 195 back into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should stay clear of 190. Second major support level at 193 should limit the downside. On the MACDs, we've got a widening of the bearish histograms supporting this early morning pullback. On the EMAs, the 50 is pulled back further away from the 100 and the 200, with the 100 closing in on the 200, both bearish indicators. So failure to move through the pivot at 202 would leave support levels in play on the day. Moving across to Ripple's XRP against US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP move back through the 38.2% fib at 0.4632 and through the pivot level at 0.4751 to bring the first major resistance level at 0.4839 into play. We'll need support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.48. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 0.49 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Ripple's XRP test resistance at 0.5 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 0.4988. Failure to move back through the 38.2% and through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 0.4602 back into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 0.45. Second major support level at 0.4514 should limit the downside. On the MACDs, we've got a marked widening of the bearish histogram supporting this early morning pullback. and we're seeing the 50 EMA narrow on the 100 and the 200, also a bearish indicator. So failure to move back through the 38.2% fib at 0.4632 and through the pivot at 0.4751 would leave support levels in play.